All I wanted to do was be a recruiter.
You were awarded 2024 SIA Contingent Workforce Program Game Changer.
I think within 2-3 years, we're looking at a very different landscape. So get on board or be left behind.
How is technology currently shaping the recruitment world?
I've even seen most recently an end-to-end solution that will replace entire departments. Without some regulation, I do think that the machines could get too powerful and people's privacy and rights could get taken advantage of. I do think what I love about these conferences is the innovation. You have to protect your times and use it wisely.
One thing that people don't know about you.
I'm a classic rock and roll guy.
Advice that you wish you would have known when you were in your 20s.
Try not to be too much of a people pleaser. We know the way things work, and so I don't want to have to learn something new, and I don't want to have to meet new people. And what if? A lot of times those what ifs are good, positive changes.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Dan. Thanks for coming on Rise and Real podcast. This is all about the journey behind the success for some exceptional leaders, and I'm so grateful to have you here. Since when I know you since 2018, and I'm glad we got to share a screen space over here. You are a recognized voice in the contingent workforce industry. So here we have you. Welcome to the Rise and Real podcast. How are you doing today?
Thanks, Anna. Doing well, and I appreciate you guys having me on here as a guest. And yeah, it's been some time since we've gotten to know each other.
Yeah. So let's start with the beginning, Dan. What sparked your interest in the workforce journey and how you grew in this space?
Yeah. A lot of people talk about how they fall into recruiting, not necessarily targeting it. My journey was a little bit different. I was a human resources major, more than a few decades back, and I actually targeted recruiting. That was all I wanted to do was be a recruiter. Call it bizarre, but it was just very appealing to me being able to work with people and help people. And so, fresh out of school, fresh college grad, eyes wide open, looking for what the world would give me, and was just targeting really recruiting jobs. And started off as a recruiter for about a year or two. Turns out I'm a really bad recruiter, and I was not very effective at it.
Okay. So, like when you started recruiting, Dan, I am just curious, what is your favorite part of recruitment cycle that you loved it when you were involved in it?
Well, it's the helping people, right? It was helping people, get jobs, helping people better their lives, by way of a new job. And so that was the whole aspect that attracted me. But as I mentioned, wasn't very good at it. And as I started a family, I realized there was a roller coaster ride that was tied to the recruiting and sales industry. And I don't know that I was too in love with that roller coaster ride. And so I wanted to do something that related to the industry, that kept me in the industry, without the roller coaster ride. And that's when I sort of transitioned into MSP, where I could, be more on the operation side and more on the program and the design of these operations without actually doing the recruiting myself. And look, that's different for everybody. That happens to be my journey. But there's others that have been extremely successful in recruiting or sales, and it's extremely lucrative. And I think that is an absolute, very challenging job. And those that are successful, deserve some really good recognition.
Yeah, great, great, great. Well, when I started recruitment, the only thing that I started, I used to love talking to new people and try to understand what they want. And slowly my journey went into the recruitment, and here we are. So you wore so many hats in your career. You have been into recruitment, MSP, a leader on the buyer side. Can you explain us how that journey has been and what you love the most, what role you love the most, and how you're adding value to that?
Yeah, I think alongside the roller coaster ride that we were just talking about, there was another apparent obstacle that I picked up on pretty quickly recruiting. I found that um, there was a process that was so needing love and attention. When I thought about recruiting for these different investment banks, I specifically recruited for IT contractors within the investment banking world, specifically in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut tri-state area, to be really exact. And working with those companies, the process, the technology, the governance, the framework, all of that just seemed to be really absent. And so while I didn't like the roller coaster ride, I also saw that there was major opportunity to optimize how these programs are structured. And so transitioning into the MSP space, as I mentioned, was a great way to address some of that framework and that optimization that I saw as a major opportunity.
Amazing, amazing. So, along in this journey, there were some mentors or the key influencer who keep you motivated, guided you. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, three come to mind, and they're all at different points along this journey. The first one, we'll leave names out of this. The first one I'll never forget as I was a recruiter and it was about 7 o'clock and we had this rule. You had to cover every job with two candidates. And once you did that, you could move on to your next job. It was about 7 o'clock at night. I was tired. I was hungry. It's been a long week. And I went into my boss's office at the time and I said, look, haven't been able to find someone for this job. I said, but we're going to pick it up in the morning and we're going
Mhm.
to start some new searches and blah, 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 blah. And she said, you're not going anywhere. And I said, well, it's 7 o'clock at night. I'm tired. I'm hungry. It's time.
Yeah.
And she said, you can keep doing it. Keep going. I bet you find someone. I ended up staying for another hour or two. And sure enough, I found someone. Part because I just wanted to get the heck out of there and eat and go home, right? But in part because I was pushed. I was pushed to an extent. I was pushed to a place where I didn't know that I wanted to go. But with that nudge from my leader at the time, I was able to achieve something much greater. And so I think a key mentor or a key learning point there was, push yourself outside that comfort zone,
Mm,
and you can do some miraculous things. Um, another mentor that sticks out and really influenced me in a big way was a people first sort of encouraging leader. Um, this individual was someone who I would constantly go to and say, well, look, you've been doing this for 30, 40 years, and
mhm.
I've only been doing it for X amount of years. What do you think?
Yeah.
And I would always go to them for their advice. And they said, we hired you because you're a smart individual and you know what you're doing. You've been out there for a bit. What do you think?
Yeah.
Right? And they would intentionally refrain their thoughts and their ideas to stimulate my own production of those ideas and thoughts and approach. And with that, you create more character and you create a sense of individualism, more importantly, growth. And
Yeah.
that was just essential for me. So yeah.
Oh, great, great, great. Well, do you think at that time of recruitment, we all used to get that kind of nudge and we used to take it so positively? How is the difference in today's era and at that time of recruitment?
Well, I think, generational changes, right?
Mhm.
I don't want to bucket people, but there are certainly generational changes, and I think over time and maturity and development, you learn to embrace feedback for the, priceless aspect that it is.
Of course, of course. There are some ways that are very different, that we see today, and they're exceptionally working good for the people. So, in your leadership, Dan, can you tell us one story that has been a turning point for you, a difficult decision that you made, and one particular challenge that make you grow better?
Um, yeah, so I think a challenge that I went up against when I think about my career, starting off in recruiting, going to MSP, and over the last 3 years, I went on to the buy side. That transition was driven by a lot of experience and some hard learnings. And that experience that I'm referring to is being a part of a workforce solutions in an MSP company. We were designing and implementing and scaling some really, really great, robust operations. Um, Having a seat at the table was something that we were missing. And what I mean by that is we'd have our procurement sponsor, our HR sponsor, and any other members of the steerco and governance committee. And you'd be pitching them on a really great idea that's intended to drive value for their
Mhm.
business. But not being an employee and not being a part of their internal decision-making committee, it was tough to drive change. And that was actually one of the big driving factors of why I transitioned into buy side. I saw an opportunity to have a louder voice at the table and to be able to continue doing what I'm doing of designing, building, and implementing, scaling, and overseeing contract labor programs, but just having a little bit more influence.
Dan, like you were awarded 2024 SIA Contingent Workforce Program Game Changer. That's a great recognition. Can you advise us and the viewers who are watching this that what changes or additions you made in your program that made it better and act as a game changer? It can help many people growing up their career.
Yeah, it's there's still a part of me that is, shocked with that award and recognition because there's some really, really big players that were a part of that. But I think impact and value, right? Impact to our supplier partners and value to them, impact and value to the different customers that we're supporting. And so, the advice or the value that I will offer to others trying to, achieve something along those lines would be always strive for greatness, always push yourself, to new heights. Go outside your comfort zone. We talked a little bit about that earlier. But when I think about what we've done with programs, I started off with, domestic programs. Maybe it was a particular business unit. And then I went into other programs where it was domestic and maybe all business units, the entire company, right? So a truly national program. And then going beyond that into the international space and setting up some programs in various countries. And then from there, it wasn't just staff aug anymore. It was statement of work, right? It was worker tracking, profile management, asset tracking, provisioning, and really building out these programs to deliver more value to whoever was using them. And so, selfishly, I think about value to our internal stakeholders, but I do think that there's a lot of value that could be offered to our supplier partners.
Oh,
Um, you know, rules of engagement. There was a time and a place where, a no contact environment, can't talk to the managers, like that was like the big thing. And I always took issue with that. Going back 15 years ago, I took issue with that. There's value with our managers talking to the people that are actually recruiting for them.
yeah.
So, when you think about MSP, or if it's in-house managed, regardless, there's an opportunity to stimulate and foster that connection.
Mhm.
So anyways, continue to push the limits, continue to change and buck the norm,
Mhm.
and not accept what is normal. A wise person once told me normal is nothing but a setting on a washer machine or a dryer, right? That's all it is, right? And I think we have to challenge that constantly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's great. That's great. And I always learned from you, especially in our last call when you were talking about AI and technology. And I would love that viewpoint over here. From your lens, how is technology currently shaping the recruitment world, the vendor relationship, the vendor management, workforce solutions? You have been watching so many demos. People have come to you. So, what do you see in the future and what do you see now? And if you can give us some insights about it.
I think it's seeping into every aspect of our lives, both
Mm,
personally and professionally. And I think that as it relates to contract labor and staffing, even direct hire, we're seeing the same thing, right? It is going, and it is already touching every aspect of the staffing industry, whether that's contract labor, full-time labor, whether it's in-house managed or externally managed. Um, AI is being incorporated as curation tools, as sourcing tools. I've even seen most recently an end-to-end solution that will replace entire departments. It'll do everything from intake session with managers to building out job descriptions to distribution of that rec to preferred suppliers to setting up contracts, getting offer letters out, interview scheduling, fully integrated with um, different calendar platforms and email platforms, messaging platforms. So then you bolt in, you know, robotic sort of AI with agentic AI, automation. I mean, I think within 2, 3 years, we're looking at a very different landscape. So get on board or be left behind.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. How you see the people connection at that time when AI will be too much in place? The recruiter and the connection with the hiring manager, how you foresee that? How you see those conferences where the bonding of the people mattered the most, right? If everything is taken care of by AI, I just wonder that how the future will look like. I understand,
Yeah,
operation side, I love AI, but on the people connection side, how you foresee it?
I think the people connection will always be at the forefront of what we do.
Mhm.
But I think that it'll be largely about skill set and labor category. There's going to be certain skill sets and labor categories where you can fully automate and
Yeah.
you don't necessarily need to have a human there. Take, for example, industrial
Mhm.
manufacturing type staffing. You need to make sure that the person's eligible to work,
Mhm.
willing, commuting distance, cost, bill rate, pay rate, that sort of thing. Um, that can all really be done, especially for day labor, right?
Mhm.
That can all be done through, chat bots and
Mhm.
whatnot. I don't know that you would need a human necessarily in that scenario. But when you go into more complex skill sets, higher level skill sets, direct hire,
Mhm.
the human element is certainly needed. There's a lot that we pick up on when we're having a conversation, eye contact, body posture, things that aren't spoken, um, but a technology may not pick up entirely. Maybe on the eye contact piece, because I've seen that now incorporated into curation tools. But I
Yes.
think you get the
Yeah.
point, right? There's
Yeah.
there's things about a conversation, enthusiasm, excitement
Mhm.
that the human element will still be needed, perhaps just on a much reduced scale.
Yeah. 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 So, like we see thousands of workforce solutions company in the market, right? Do you think the use of AI, how they use it and how they incorporate it in the system with along with all privacy and the regulatory measures will differentiate them even if they were the priority for their clients?
Well, I was just reading an article on LinkedIn about regulation, and I think that that's really the next step with AI. As AI continues to develop and advance at such a incredible speed,
Mhm.
we need to keep up the regulation, not to hinder its ability to provide value, because overregulation is frankly bad for the economy. But in this case of data privacy and the power of data. Without some regulation, I do think that the machines could get too powerful and people's privacy and rights could get taken advantage of.
Yeah, great, great, great. If you're mentoring someone, what advice will you be giving to the next gen workforce leaders from your experience?
Great question. Um, I'll probably go with passion. All right. You see a lot of individuals that they talk about their work as it's just a job, it's a paycheck. But but is that a way to live? Is that a way to approach a career? And I think that if someone really wants a robust career that's going to take them to incredible heights, they should follow their passion and their heart. If you don't love what you do, and I know that's cliche, it will show in your work quality. It will show in your disposition and demeanor in the office and in your day-to-day interactions. So I would say find that passion, find what really, really ticks you, what makes you thrive and get excited, and go with that. For me, I thought it was recruiting, but as I realized I was a bad recruiter, I lost some of that passion because I wasn't successful at it.
Mm.
And then I also learned about the commission and the roller coaster ride that we talked about earlier. And those things turned me away. And as it turned me away, my passion went. And that's how I knew it was time for a transition. So I would give advice to anybody out there listening to follow their heart, follow their passion, and do what truly brings happiness, where they feel like they're making an impact.
You can't stay in a career if you don't like it or love it. You just try
Yeah.
yourself in it. No, no, thanks. That is true. Well, Tan, you go to so many conferences. Since when are you going to the conferences? How many years it has been?
Well, quite a few years. I would say I started somewhere around the 2015 timeframe, so for about 10 years now.
That's long. You have been to so many conferences, meeting your peer group, attending so many sessions. You have been speaker in so many sessions, and I have attended few of those. And you see a lot of suppliers also chasing you. You have been in all those spots. Tell me, what do you like about the conferences, apart from the learning part from the sessions, and what you don't like about the conferences?
Well,
What
the learning part of, yeah, so the learning part in the during the sessions is really for me a big part of it. If I could walk away with one nugget of information or an idea that I can take back and implement, then I think it's provided its value. Outside of that, because I know that that's where you wanted to focus on, I do think what I love about these conferences is the innovation that you see out there. There's a tremendous amount of innovation coming from our supply base, coming from workforce solution providers, and so on and so forth. And it's really interesting for me to see all of that and then to be able to cherry pick what makes the most sense for us and where we work and how we do things. What I don't like about it, probably the same thing that everybody else says, right? It can feel like a little bit of a feeding frenzy at time, and you have to protect your times and use it wisely. Otherwise, you could get very diluted into meeting a whole ton of people that you really just don't have much opportunity to offer.
Mm, mm. It has been hard to say no to someone who has been chasing you a lot on a supplier side. Any incident that you can share?
Well, I kind of keep it open-ended, right? Because I don't know what tomorrow brings. And things can change in our business very quickly.
Yeah.
While I may not have an opportunity today, I may very quickly have something come up. And so I just like to keep it very transparent, where we are with our supply base opportunities,
Yeah.
and what opportunities may be coming down the pipe. Um, and we try to match those up the best we can. So unfortunately, it is a very diluted marketplace. There are, well over 10,000 staffing firms in the US.
Yeah.
And so there's not going to be an endless amount of business, even with the largest scale operations. So, we have to make decisions that are best for us, and we look for there to be that synergy. You know, if it was real estate, it'd all be about location, but it's
Yes.
not. It's
Yes.
staffing. It's all about timing and the synergy there.
Well, I want to add this thing over here. Sometimes you even make good decision for the suppliers where they think that they can do, but you know the backside of the story, that what are the hardships and what kind of suppliers you need, for your program. This is the feedback that I got from major buyers who are my friends too, who tell me that they're good, but it's not good enough for our program. It is something different
Yeah.
that we need. So definitely, that is something, I always admire. Well, I recently saw one post, I'm not going to name, but I saw the hardship that a buyer faced of hard chase by the supplier. And
Yeah.
what is your take on it? What are the do's and don'ts that suppliers should follow in event or even when they want to present themselves and talk about the work or the opportunities? What do you feel? What is the one advice that you can give as do and don't for them?
Make sure what you're
Me, one
chasing is
among
true.
them. Me, one among them. It's a learning for me as well.
I was going to say, make sure what you're chasing is truly what you want. And what I mean by that is evaluate the opportunity in the same way that you're being evaluated as a service provider. you have to make sure that that opportunity is a good fit for you. There
Yeah.
could be aggressive pricing out there that is so aggressive, it would be very difficult to motivate your recruiting team.
Mhm.
Or perhaps it's not lucrative enough to support the financials of your operation, and it's more of a weight to carry than it is a benefit. So I think a two-way evaluation is critical. We've had scenarios where someone has oversold because they wanted the business so bad, and they got in there, and either they couldn't deliver, or once they got to, close to the finish line and we started going into the pricing and markups and terms and conditions, they were a little bit unfavorable for that particular vendor and their setup and their infrastructure.
Mhm.
And so what happens is they didn't want to pull the plug and get out of the race. They
Yeah.
proceeded and they just weren't interested. And so what does that do? That leaves a horrible taste in a buyer's mouth to say, you wanted this so badly, and then you finally get in.
Mhm.
And we're not seeing any of that passion and that desire to be successful. So just evaluate it, really know what you're going into, and make sure it's something that's going to be beneficial and supportive and conducive to your business.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's great. That's great. It's not very rapid fire, just a rapid fire. So here we go. Tell me, ever you heard about the spirit animals?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know who is yours?
I do. I do. And I wasn't expecting to share that, but in the spirit of the podcast, I will. Um, my spirit animal is a butterfly, and it
Wow.
has a lot to do with transformation and evolving and adapting.
Yes, yes. Butterfly is all about the transformation. So, how you feel that that spirit animal really relates to you in the real life when it comes to personal, professional, both?
Yeah, so I think in a similar sense of the butterfly through transformation and adaptability, you also have this sort of chameleon effect, right? In contract labor roles, we sort of have a hybrid position. We sit in HR talent acquisition, sometimes we sit in procurement,
Yes.
and we have to interact with the others, right? But then you also have your steer co and you have your different stakeholders throughout the organization, which everybody has their different values. Like if I talk to accounts payable about, our insurance and contract structures, they're not going to be too interested. I have to make it relevant to
Yes.
the accounts payable person, right? Consolidated invoicing. Aha, now I got their interest. Now they see value. It applies to them and it's something that will benefit their world.
Yeah.
And so I think with the butterfly as a spirit animal or spirit insect, I suppose.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, just reading the room, knowing your audience and creating value for them.
Yes, great, great. Well, I would never love to talk about my spirit animal because I see multiple, so we are good over there.
Uh, okay. All right. I'm going to hold you to it off the record, though. We'll talk about it.
Definitely, definitely. So you talk a lot about transformation, the hardships, the hard work, and everything, which is really inspiring. What is work-life balance to you in today's life?
Yeah, I think that probably means a little bit something different depending on who you're talking to. For me, I'm a family guy. I have I have three amazing children and a wife at home. And so work-life balance to me is extremely important. Being able to be there during these moments where they're learning and developing and experiencing things for the first time. And so whether it's their socials or their school or their sports, being a part of that and being able to leave work at work and pick it up the next morning and not feeling like you're overworked or there is a negative stigma if you were to check out at 5 or 6 o'clock so that you can be there in your personal life. So I think it's largely important. I take that from my own perspective. And I'm wondering if perhaps there's other people with their kids are moved out and they're
Yeah.
adults now. Does that change for them? Maybe, maybe not.
Mhm.
So I think it's unique for each person.
Yes, yes. Your proudest career achievement that you consider as an achievement.
Yeah, so I'll take my current scenario. I came over here to ZT Systems. We did not have a program. This was a newly created role. We designed and architect, design, build, implement, and scale the contract labor program that was supportive of over 20 countries and a few thousand contingent workers. Um, Different labor categories, lots of different regulation to go up against, um, different vendor contract structures, et cetera. It was a lot to build.
Mm.
So, you know, I'll say that my current role, it's been an experience. It's been fun.
Amazing, amazing. One thing that people don't know about you.
I am a big music connoisseur. I think about any type of genre of music that I can say that I genuinely love, and I think that there's a place and time within my life that music genre applies. So there's different playlists on my phone,
Okay.
ones that are called just feels and vibes, right? Depending
We
if
all do
that's
the
the
same,
mood.
man.
Yeah. But look, I'm a classic rock and roll guy. Love the old stuff, love the new stuff. Like I said, I feel like there's a genre of music for every place and time in someone's life.
Yeah. Oh, great, great, great. Well, even I like that. Even I like that. And I have a separate playlist, when I'm driving. So
Yeah.
definitely, I can relate to that. Tell me, what is your best networking go-to? You like parties that are loud? You like something which is close, decent? Or you like concerts? Like what is your go-to when it comes to networking?
Yeah, I think flexible on the environment or the circumstances, so long as, you're able to get out in front of, a good amount of people and
Yeah.
get faces with names and shake hands. Yeah, I think any type of environment would work for that, as long as you could hear the person. I'm not sure if I would do that at a concert, which I love. But if you can hear the person and you have the opportunity to get to know them a little bit and share a little bit about yourself, I think that's what the whole networking thing's about, right?
Yeah, yeah, amazing. Yes. So that relates to your spirit animal, butterfly. You can just adjust to anything because there are some, who like it, low, or somebody who likes it loud. So great. Advice that you wish you would have known when you were in your 20s.
Yeah. Try not to be too much of a people pleaser. I think that that's one thing that I've always strived for. There was this ability to make every single person happy, and you'd have someone that say, "Oh, well, there's the old saying of, good, cheap, best, right? And you can't
Yeah,
have all three. You got to pick two."
yeah,
That really rang true to me as I learned it the hard way, trying to produce a service or a product that was fast and that was
yeah,
good,
yeah,
and that was cheap, and just sort of cutting my teeth on that
yeah,
and realizing, no, we don't have to do it that way.
yeah,
We need to figure out what is most important, and let's focus on that.
yeah,
And we don't need to focus on the whole list at once,
yeah.
right? And that approach has really been a learning opportunity, that I sort of pride myself on today.
Amazing, amazing. I'm still fighting from this. Because at some point, we get to in a people-pleasing mode. It's hard to say no. It's hard to restrict ourselves. But that is a great advice, and I think we all deal with it. And somebody who reaches to that point is great, is at a safe point in their life.
Yeah.
Tell me, what is the upcoming event for you? Though I think I know that, but still, what is the upcoming event for you where people can just say hello to you?
Yeah, well, we're at the end of July here, and so what comes up in just about 5, 6 weeks, one of the biggest events of the year. It's the Super Bowl of the staffing industry,
Yeah,
which would be the CWS Summit hosted by
yeah.
SIA. So I'll be there in Dallas and look forward to meeting with each of you.
Amazing, amazing. So Dan is going to be there. Many of the people know that already, but please do ping him and talk to him. I'm sure he will add great value when it comes to the life principles, the journey it has been for him, and some great learnings. So thank you, Dan. Thanks for being here. At the very last time, when we wrap up, is there something that you would like to tell us? Something that you want to share with us before we just hang up?
Um, yeah, we talked a little bit about passion. And I would really encourage people to keep that at the forefront. There's what we were taught when we were being raised, by our parents or legal guardians. And everybody always talks about go with your heart, right? Go with your gut, go
Yeah.
with your instincts. And, that is so true, and that applies, I think, to business as well. If your heart's not there, if you don't feel like you're in the right place, if your instinct or guts are telling you to get the hell out, get
Yeah.
the hell out.
Yeah.
Go do go do what you want to do, go do where you believe you should be.
Yeah.
And I think that that'll take you far.
There is a reason, Dan, why everybody talks about it, right? Our parents, our people who guide us, that listen to your heart because they have seen that later you regret if you don't do that. And from their experience, they share that thing with us. But
Yeah.
I just want to share it. Don't you think that sometimes it's difficult to get out from the environment you're working in, even your heart says don't stay because of the responsibilities that you have? Because
Yeah.
we do have friends and we see those situations, right? So, what do you feel? Everybody faced that situation at some point of the life. What do you feel? How to go with it? Sometimes you say keep it low.
It's a leap of faith, right? It's
Yeah,
it's 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 that leap of faith and extending yourself beyond the comfort
yeah,
zone. There's the saying, change is good, right? And so while we think, well, we're comfortable here, we get complacent, we
yeah,
know the way things work, and so I don't want to have to learn something new, and I don't want to have to meet new people. And what if, what if, what if, what if, what if? Well, a lot of times those what ifs are good positive changes.
yeah.
So I think embracing that and employing that leap of faith in your decisioning will be beneficial.
Yes, embracing change and leap of faith. Everybody should remember on that. And one story that I never forget is the journey of the caterpillar, how it became a butterfly. Those hardships always come, in the life. It's the leap of faith that you believe in those hardships and that make you so beautiful. And the journey is towards the success. So thank you, Dan. Thank you so much. I'm going to see you in Dallas in September. Until then, I would love to say bye to everyone.
Thanks for having me, Anna. Take care all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much.